This is not the most important Illuminati research and development program. Human genetic engineering and the creation of a new race is the highest priority of the Illuminati and the Luciferian Empire. This is the only field of competition that they have not surpassed the Trinitarian Empire yet. And back to the tabloid sources, plenty of genetic engineering goes on the planet. Monkeys are joined with fish, people are joined with fish. Population is prepared for the idea that we can manipulate genetics in the same way as manipulate electronic signals on the oscilloscope. Hitler had a very extensive genetic research program which culminated with the creation of walking, living, breeding hybrids between humans and animals. And nothing of it has come out of the press. His unenerved genetic research program is played down as a simple selective breeding program of the right German maidens mating with the politically correct SS men to produce the new super race. The baby is born, the baby are taken care of in SS kindergartens, the assembly line marriages, and so on. The genetic experiments in the concentration camps were a lot more than the little innocent pilot survival experiments that they were doing on inmates. I shot a 23-pound grasshopper. Somebody is definitely playing with the genes on this planet. And this is what they want to teach the public about. This was not a tabloid photograph. This is a bird with the fangs and the mouth of a snake that was captured in Puerto Rico, and the government agent snatched it and nobody saw the bird or the agent again. A bird with genetically manipulated snake fangs on it. Bird with wings that would fly. In the Alien Harvest, Linda Moulton Howe talks about the cattle mutilations being done by aliens. I have a feeling that most of them are done by the government. Like the cattle are a perfect walking, licking vacuum cleaner that picks up the radiation, and by mutilating them they measure the remaining radiation after the above ground and underground nuclear blasts, which have tremendously contaminated the country. If they start going with the Geiger counters and doing that in public, they will be sued for compensation by everybody in the states around the nuclear test site. So they've chosen a very innocent way of doing it. Space alien doctors sneak into hospitals to experiment on human patients. Some really do, but most of them are, or UFO alien makes girls 8, 9 pregnant. Tabloid accounts, but very soon the official UFO literature is full with dozens of books on alien abductions with the purpose of horizontal experimentation and a sexual crossbreeding between terrestrial and alien representatives for the creation of a new super race. Creation of a new super race doesn't come alone. You have to start much earlier. Robotics was developed to perfection in the secret projects. Tennis playing robots, cops, robocops, or robots that test army gear have probably been developed in the early 50s. The Men in Black were the most advanced mechanical and the first crude biological robots that were developed in the 60s by the government and were widely used through teleportation to beam down and to harass UFO contactees. Men in Black, products of the first biological robot programs of the government. Mr. Data is probably the advanced cousin of the Men in Black serving in the interstellar fleet of the Illuminati. The Men in Black were the more primitive, earlier versions of Mr. Data. The little grays, according to some researchers, are nothing but biologically cloned and produced in the test tube biological robots or cyborgs given to the government by aliens, maybe jointly produced. and used by the government conveniently for purposes that no other medical or government personnel can perform. Can you imagine the public outcry if doctors or military personnel start abducting little children and not returning them, or doing everything to the children as the aliens do? I mean, they couldn't have come with a better idea. Is it the little greys cloning us, or is it the government cloning them, or is it through them the government cloning us into a brave new world of super beings? I have a feeling that it is mostly the last of the three possibilities. The men in black and the little greys. An inevitable development of this line of creation of artificial life. Very high on the Luciferian agenda. This is the only thing that they have not been able to master so far. Artificial intelligence, not only in the tabloid sources, but basically they have created artificial intelligence computers that talk the way Mr. Data talks. Some doomsday science, some end-time prophecies. Somebody told me that creating a fear in an individual is like a metal rod that short-circuits his battery for paranormal abilities. If an individual is under fear, he can be easily abducted. He cannot telepathically transmit messages from higher races. Basically, his paranormal ability is effectively switched off. So there is no shortage of doomsday prophecies coming from the government spin control. A comet is about to crash soon onto planet Earth. The ozone hole is a total scare. The alien threat is a sister threat of the ecological threat. And the book, The Holes in the Ozone Scare, or The Hole in the Ozone Hole, reveals why it is a physical impossibility for an ozone hole to be. It is not the ozone that stops the ultraviolet light. It's the other way around. When the ultraviolet light hits the atmosphere, it creates ozone. You can prove that with a little high school experiment. Buy an ultraviolet light for bugs, bug-killing ultraviolet light, hide it in your closet, close the door and let it run for 2-3 hours. When you open the door, the closet would reek of ozone. The ultraviolet light creates ozone when it hits the air. And that's exactly what happens on the whole planet. Why there are holes on the pole? Very simple, because 6 months of the year there is no sunshine. And then it picks up again. 6 months here, 6 months on the other pole. It has nothing to do with the chlorofluorocarbons, but hitting the refrigeration chain on the planet, they will bring another hundreds of millions of excess deaths, basically helping the AIDS initiative to reduce the population on the planet. The aliens, the alien threat, the cometary threat, the ecological threat, these are all sister threats coming from the Illuminati, disinformation and spin controllers. A report from the Iron Mountain, the most important book for anyone who is into the ecological movement. It explains how the whole policy of purposeful ecological degradation was thought by the government 25 years ago, just in time when the Russian threat would be eliminated, when there would be no more Russian bear threat. So then this totalitarian government here would be desperately in need of a new threat, a new replacement threat. All the Noriegas, the Saddam Husseins, and the Muammar Gaddafis are small-time interim replacement threats that can last for a few months or a year. The American government desperately needs a new major threat. The ecological threat, according to the Iron Mountain, is a major candidate for such a threat. But the coming alien threat is probably the biggest candidate. Star Wars is not to fight the Russians, but to fight the incoming aliens. The film The V was shown even in Eastern Europe. Even Eastern European publications published the giant